away with some questions.
Tobe, how did Arizona end up on your radar?
It was actually weird because Coach Murph had hit me at like midnight on a given day, and from then it was just talks back and forth. And I think the thing that really did it was just how much they showed they wanted me. Coach Murph was blowing up my phone. Coach Lloyd, we had great conversations back and forth. So I think it was just creating that relationship with the coaches on the staff.
Had there already been any of the other additions announced at that point?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
Had any impact on knowing who else was coming or anything like that?
I think Trey had committed a little bit beforehand. Now that I'm thinking, but me and him, I talked a little bit beforehand, and he seemed like a great guy. We're really great friends now. So Murph had kind of mentioned how me and him have similar personalities and how we would get along and how sort of our play styles complement each other. So just taking all that into account, I think that really made me think that Arizona was the right choice.
What is your playing style? How do you think you'll add to the team?
I would say tough, gritty, hard-nosed. Pride myself on rebounding the basketball, playing defense, sort of doing all the little things to help my team win. Obviously, scoring, I'm trying to improve in, being more comfortable making playmaking decisions, things of that nature. So I think that's a good little synopsis,
You kind of had to be that way at Tennessee, right? That's how Coach Barnes preached it?
Yeah. Coach Barnes is definitely heavy on effort, defense, making game-winning plays. So I definitely think that's something he definitely taught me for sure.
Going to be, are you kind of embracing that for the plan ahead in the Big 12? And everybody talks about how tough it is, and you lost a couple of big guys. This team did. You're going to be one of the focal points really dealing with that.
Yeah, I think it's something that I definitely need to bring to the team to help us win. You have teams like Houston, Kansas. So being tough on the glass, playing defense, those are all really important things to win in this league.
The Tennessee team that played here in Tucson during the non-conference?
I was.
What do you remember from that night and just playing in McKale and being in that type of environment in that game?
The atmosphere was great. It was a great environment. The fans were really tuned in. It was a really good game. And at that point, I was playing a little bit more, so I got to go up against guys like Balo and Tubella. So it was definitely a good challenge for me, my freshman year.
What did it feel like when you first got out on McKale wearing an Arizona practice shirt? Did you remember that game? Did it flash back at all to you or anything, or is it totally different?
I would say it was a little different, but I would say just being in Tucson in a new place, it was a little surreal, But at the end of the day, I felt like the guys here really made me feel at home. It kind of felt like I'd already been here a year, just with how smoothly I was able to transition and things like that. So it's definitely been a great experience.
Jaden Broadley, you both come from New York, both come from SEC schools. Did you know him before coming here?
So JB had played on Chris Paul's AAU team, CP3. So I remember playing against him in high school. I was on New York Lightning. He was on CP3. So I sort of heard about him, knew his game. But the fact that two New York guys are here, I think is pretty cool.
So you mentioned with Trey and JB, or who else? Are you gotten to be good friends with those guys? Anybody else too that you've kind of gotten to know pretty well? So
really, all the guys. Conrad Martinez, great guy, funny dude. Krivas. It's been fun sort of battling with him, during practices and things like that, and just getting to know him. Deli's been great as well. Caleb, KJ, really all the guys. I could speak, great things about them all.
How's the pace been in practice? I imagine this is a little quicker than what you're used to as far as getting up and down the court.
Yeah, I think transition is a big thing. We like to push the ball for sure. And then just within the half-court offense, the bigs are moving a lot, flashing, setting screens, things like that. So it's definitely gotten some taking used to, But I just feel like with more reps and just sort of listening to the coaches, watching film, I'm getting better day by day.
Any other differences that you noticed along those lines with the system in Tennessee and what you've had to adjust to?
I would say they're similar in the sense that they're big oriented more so. I would say probably here like the pace is just a little faster, but I would still say that the foundations are pretty similar.
I hear you're an avid reader. You just had a book club at Tennessee.
Yeah.
Why did you start the book club, and is that something you might want to do here?
So me and Josiah Jordan James at Tennessee, we really like to read, so we sort of share with each other what we're reading here and there. But it was really something instilled within me from my mom. I used to hate reading when I was younger, and every summer when school was out, she would force me and my siblings to go to the library. And then from then on, I just kind of, started to get into things I was more so interested in, and from there, my love for reading kind of grew. But yeah, this one, I've talked to a few of the guys about it here and there. One of our managers, Coleman, we talked about it too. So, hopefully there's something in the works,
So what kind of genres do you like?
Anything really. I was big on psychology for a little bit and theology. I was thinking about starting the book, The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus. So, yeah, really anything, honestly.
In terms of the differences, you talked about the offensive side of the ball in terms of the pace and whatnot, but defensively, how different is it from Rick Barnes' system to Tommy's system and just learning a whole new defensive scheme?
Surprisingly enough, the schemes are pretty similar, I would say. I think that the biggest thing is just understanding the terminology. Different coaches call different, movements and actions different things. So I think that's been the biggest thing, but I would say the philosophies are pretty similar.
You mentioned when you came here as far as like maybe cutting down on fouls. Has there been any other emphases, things in your game that you especially over the summer when you have that extra time for individual work that you've kind of been trying to add to your game?
Right, yeah, fouling has definitely been one. Just making better decisions on the perimeter, playmaking, knowing how to read defenders and how to help my guards, in the pick and roll, things like that. But I would just say, yeah, just playmaking. Also, being able to shoot the 15-foot jumper and possibly extend it to three-point range as well. That's something I've been looking to improve on also.
Do you see yourself mostly as a 4 or sometimes into the 5 as well?
Well, I think in our offense, the 4 and 5 are pretty interchangeable, so I think either one I'd be able to play.
Off the court, so far anyway, I assume you've had a fair amount of time over the summer and into this fall. Like, what have you been doing? And do you, or when it's super hot, do you do a lot of reading inside, or where you've been going out to places, or what have you been up to?
Reading's definitely one. Me and Trey for a little bit were watching movies together too. Me, him, and a few of our other teammates. Me and JB, actually, we love playing NCAA 25, the new game that just came out, so that's been pretty fun. So yeah, just sort of like a mix of all those kind of things.
Have you noticed a difference? Is Knoxville in the mountains? It's Smoky Mountains, right?
That's a little
further.
Smoky Mountain,
Okay.
yeah.
Have you noticed a difference in with the elevation here at all, or any sort of difference in just being in Tucson?
It's definitely hotter, for sure. It's definitely hotter. When I first got here, that was something I definitely had to get used to. But other than that, I think the scenery is great. The mountains, looking at those, driving around is great. But yeah, the desert is definitely a different animal for sure. So got to stay hydrated and all that. But yeah.
Bounced around the country a little bit. What would you say is like the biggest adjustment that you've had to make going from the Northeast to the South and then the Southwest?
I think it's just really finding a good day-to-day schedule and routine to fall into. Different places sort of have different ways they run things. So I guess just internally, like creating a clock for myself and a system to be as productive and efficient as possible.
How would you say, you talk about the outside, but just the towns, Knoxville versus Tucson, how do they compare in your mind?
Tucson, I would say, is a little bit more old school, I would say. But I really like the vibe, though. It's definitely a little different, but it's kind of hard to pinpoint with words. It's one of those things that you kind of have to experience,
Any places you like to hang out off campus?
It's really just with my teammates. They have dorms not too far from here, from the arena. So it's really just wherever they go, I'm kind of with them. Just trying to team bond and all that stuff.
Been anything you've learned from Shemek?
Oh, boy.
Big man skills?
Shemek is a brick wall. I think going up against him in practice has been really beneficial for me. I know back during his playing days, he was an amazing player, and I'm definitely grateful, and I know the team and the staff are grateful to have him here just to spread his knowledge. But in terms of footwork, positioning, stuff like that, he's really taught me a lot, and just to understand sort of what reads to make when having the ball in the post, what to do if they're double teaming from the bottom side or from the top side, things like that. So he's been really influential this past summer.
How's it been with Krivas, and did you go against him a lot? Are you playing together a lot? And what's kind of, have you guys kind of sharpened each other? How's that gone?
For sure. He had been playing overseas for a little bit and then came back. So just working out with him, being able to interact with him has been great. He's a really good person, and he's really dedicated to his craft. He's somebody that really sharpens you as a player when you're working out with him. Things like that makes you want to be better as well.
Anything else?
Well, you guys getting close to playing a couple of red blue games and getting going with the exhibition season. How do you feel about that? And
I'm super excited. Super excited. We had sort of some fan stuff at Tennessee, but just understanding how important the red and blue game is here, and the fact that we're doing it in Tucson, but also in Phoenix, two of them is a really great, and I really can't wait to experience it.
Do you feel like you also have fuller practices coming up? Do you feel like you've already got a pretty good grip on things, or is there an anticipation of when you get into those 2.5 hour a day type of deals, all week, what's ahead? What's kind of, where do you guys feel like you're at this point?
I feel really strongly about this team. I think we're very in tune with each other, very, very unified. But obviously, when you get new guys together on a team, it's going to take some time for you to figure each other out, your tendencies, what to make your teammate best in terms of passing them the ball and things like that. So I think that stuff is obviously going to still be a work in progress, even when the season starts. But right now, I just really like how we've gelled together and how, as a team, we push each other during practice.
What's your guys' view on, and your view personally, just on the expectations with this team? I've seen things where there's you're picked 5th in the Big 12, but you're in the top 10 nationally, and the 5 teams in the Big 12 that could be in the top 10, top 15, whatever. I mean, do you guys feel like you're in there and, it could be as good as anybody, or what's kind of the expectations?
Personally, I don't really pay attention to the rankings and the outside noise. I'm kind of confident in what this team is able to do and the work that we've put in throughout the whole summer and continue to put in. And I think, we have the possibility to make a Final Four and win a national championship. That's my goal, and I'm sure, the other guys in the team share that sentiment.
Right, yeah. Cool. Thanks, Tobe.
All right. Thanks, Tobe.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.